Sometimes you have to keep going even when nobody else is celebrating you. Sometimes you have to keep going and keep trying, even in the face of it looking like nothing is happening. Sometimes you have to keep going when you feel like nothing is happening, when you're not sure. I think that one of the most challenging places to be is in a place where you have a purpose, where you have a promise, where you have something that you are working on, and you're not quite sure if you're doing it right. I listen all the time to people who own businesses, and I will see their success, and I will see their moments of triumph, of them sharing their post where something major has happened for their business. But what you don't hear very often is people talking about the moments that they don't believe in themselves, the moments that they doubt, that they question, the moments where maybe the finances are a little low and they are trying to figure out, is this something I should keep going after? They don't often talk about the moments where all of their friends are not celebrating them, but they can see their friends celebrating other people. That's a very painful place to be because you have to keep going even if you're standing alone. What I've come to realize and what I've come to understand, and we see time and time again, is that any person that is going to be successful at anything, whether it is a relationship, whether it is a business, whether it is finances, whether it is your craft, whether it is following God, whether it's your relationship with God and doing the things that He has called you to do specifically, there are going to be uncomfortable moments. Those uncomfortable moments do not define the validity of what you were called to do. Those uncomfortable moments, they may make you want to draw back or may make you want to question yourself. But having a firm idea and mindset for where you're going and why you're doing it must always rest in the back of your mind in order for you to keep going. There are so many scriptures that we read that paint this picture and this narrative of people who ultimately looked crazy to everybody else around them. And I'm pretty sure that looking crazy to everyone else around them was an uncomfortable thing. But sometimes you've got to be crazy enough to go after what it is that you believe you are called to do and to have, even if that means that you're having to leave some people behind that don't believe. And it is okay. And I think that so many times we demonize people because they don't see our success. But I think that it's quite telling when people that have been around you all of your life, or when people that you have been raised around, or friends that you are extremely close to, I think that it's extremely telling when they cannot see it, but you feel it. It gives you this sense of knowing, hey, maybe this was just for me to do. You know, the overall premise and the idea of even Jesus in the Bible, he wasn't able to work many miracles around the town that he was from because they knew him too well. And they could only see one side of him. And they really did not believe, for many of them, that he was anything special. Sometimes you're not going to have the people around you that are going to believe that you're anything special. And many times that's how you know that you are. Because for some reason or another, you have kept going and you have kept showing up and you have kept doing whatever it was that you are believing is meant for you to do, even when you don't have the support of those around you that you love. There is this scripture that I want to talk about really quickly. And while so many people could argue the validity of this particular scripture or of this particular story in the Bible, I'm not here to argue whether it's true, whether it's not true. I'm here to show that even whether this is true or not true, that there is a story and a message in this that could speak to the mindset of an individual that's going to do anything great. That story is about Noah. Noah had to stay in a time where he said that he needed to build an ark because rain was coming. Now, the truth is, no one had ever heard of rain up to that point because there was a firmament over the earth. And so water was almost in a mist where things were just taken care of, right? Rain had not fallen yet. So when he started talking about building an ark because rain is coming, people naturally thought he was crazy. But the truth is, those people weren't the ones that God anointed to do it. Noah was. So the vision wasn't given to them. And so, of course, because they have never seen it before, because it had never been done before, and because the vision was not placed inside of them, they didn't have the details. All they heard was what Noah said. Matthew chapter 24, verse number 37 says, "But as the days of Noah were, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marry and given in marriage, until that day that Noah entered into the ark. They knew not until the flood came and took all of them away. So shall the coming of the Son of Man be." There's a perfect image in this scripture of people who were just living their lives and probably thought Noah was very crazy. They probably thought that there was something severely off about Noah. I can imagine Noah's friends conspiring in the corner saying, "What is he over there talking about? Why is he taking time away from us so that he can build this ark? What is he doing with all of this wood?" Can you imagine what that conversation sound like for people who even loved Noah and maybe felt like Noah was wasting his time? Sometimes everybody's not just against you. Sometimes people love you and they can't see what you see. And so they could be sharing from a place of complete concern and apathy or a complete empathy. They could be in a position of just wanting to protect you. And the truth is, it's only because they didn't see and they didn't hear what you heard. But you can't stop going. When we look at Jesus, we realize that the Pharisees and the Sadducees, they did not believe that this man who he was, who he said. The truth is, there were other people that were doing miracles in the Bible as well. And so this could have been some form of witchcraft. Can you imagine for a moment if you were Mary, Jesus' mother, and you were told that you had to give birth to this child, but you knew that you had never been with anyone? Now you've got to go back to your husband and try to explain to him. Now, let's put this into context because I'm just imagining for a moment if I was Joseph and Mary comes to me and I know I've never been with her, it's going to be kind of difficult for me to convince or for me to be convinced that you hadn't been with anyone. And even if I decide to accept what you said, now I've got to go tell people the same story. And they've got to believe that I haven't been with you. That's going to get pretty much uncomfortable. You know, anytime you're going to do anything that's going to be worthwhile, you're going to be uncomfortable. Whether it is for your business, whether it is for something that God has instructed you to do, it could be in a relationship. If you're going to have anything manifest to be great in your life, there are going to be uncomfortable moments. Working out at the gym, if you're going to build muscle, there are going to be uncomfortable moments. The problem is that when we are facing those uncomfortable moments, most of us retreat and we walk away because we feel as though God is not with us when we're in uncomfortable spaces. The truth is, in your weakness, He is your strength. And even in those uncomfortable moments, those are the moments that He draws the closest to you. That's where the lessons are learned. We don't learn lessons when everything is just working out in our favor. There's nothing that is being taught. It's something that's being revealed, but there's nothing that's being taught. We are taught when we are uncomfortable. We are taught when we go through moments that we don't know what we're going to do or how we're going to do it, but we just keep going. Uncomfortable moments are when you don't want to smile, when you have nothing to smile about because there are things that are fighting you, but you keep showing up to smile and you keep showing up to do what you were called to do. Those are the moments that develop your character. And they push you even closer towards the dreams and the promise of what you were placed here to do. Everybody's not going to celebrate you. And it doesn't mean that they're wrong because they're not celebrating you. And then there are going to be some that are not going to celebrate you because they're jealous of you, because it is you and it's not them. But you can never become so fixated on trying to prove something to them as much as it is trying to prove something to yourself, and that is that you can keep going even when you want to give up. Maybe you are working on a business and maybe you're trying to pull it all together to make this business take off, and it just seems like things are not coming together. Keep going. Just keep going because there is something in that process that you're going to learn and you're going to uncover. Maybe it is a relationship that you are going after, and maybe nobody else believes in you. But that doesn't mean to stop there. Just keep going. The message for today is keep going. Even when it becomes uncomfortable, you can't stop. It is those uncomfortable moments that develop your character and that push you to being the individual and the person that you were called to be in the first place. You've got to be able to stand out. And you've got to be able to stand out all alone. You've got to be able to stand out when people don't necessarily like you. You've got to keep going when there aren't people that are patting you on your back and telling you good job. Sometimes God will anoint people outside of those that you are most familiar with to see the gifts inside of you, to push you and tell you, you got this. But what you cannot afford to do, you cannot afford to stop yourself because people around you don't necessarily believe. It's going to get uncomfortable before it gets better. But in the uncomfortable spot is when you learn your greatest lessons that will be with you forever. Those lessons of uncomfortability, of what you have endured and what you have gone through, those lessons will last with you forever. And no matter how far you go, you will always have the lessons that were revealed to you in the tight spots. So if you're in that space today where there's something that is tight, maybe it's your finances, maybe it's your health, maybe it's your relationship, maybe it's your job, that you're trying to do something great and it is uncomfortable and nobody else is seeing it but you. Encourage yourself in the Lord. Tell yourself that it's going to be okay. And then keep going. You know, there are times in my own life that I've had to stand against the crowds. I've had to stand against the masses because I didn't necessarily see it the same way everybody else did. And I really think that that is the beauty of this world, that we can have so many different opinions and so many different ideas, almost like a rainbow that just makes everything so beautiful. If everybody thought the same, if everybody did the same, then there would be no individuality. And this world would be very bland, not much seasoning, not very demure. The truth is, maybe you were meant to stand out. Maybe you were meant to be different. Maybe you were meant to break the norm. Maybe you were meant to disturb the norm. You know, when I was growing up, there were so many ideas of what church people were supposed to look like and act like and think like. Um, Me and my sister talk about this all the time. I remember when it was a sin for women to wear pants in church. My sister was telling me the story about how when the first person really wore a pair of pants, everybody was like, oh, oh my God, I can't believe this. Look at her, calling her all types of names. And then over time, everybody else started wearing pantsuits and pants and jeans. But the first person that did it was talked about. The first person that did it was scrutinized. But your skin's got to be tough enough to take it, because maybe you're the one that was called to change it. Friends, it's uncomfortable when you are one that was called to change the narrative, because people are going to judge you. People are not going to like you. And they can't really see it being done because it hasn't been done. Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, nor has it entered into the heart of man the things that God has prepared for us. So everybody can't see it, but that doesn't mean that you stop. You must keep going, even when it's uncomfortable. I hope that this message today has challenged you, it has blessed you, and it has encouraged you to keep going. I hope that someone has a business that just skyrockets from this place because you start to believe in yourself in ways that you had never believed in yourself before. I'm hoping that someone will launch out and go for the relationship, even though it doesn't match what everybody else is doing or saying around you. Maybe you were called to do this. I'm hoping that you will launch out and write the book. I'm hoping that you will launch out and write the song. I'm hoping that you will launch out and do the production. I was talking to a person yesterday. This is a person that's a producer, and they are going through a very rocky moment. And I just simply said, keep going. We need what you have to produce. And I am praying over that person's business even now that it will take off and that it will do what they hadn't even imagined. The same way I am praying over you now, that what you put your hands to, that everything that God has dropped in your spirit, that it will take off. I am praying over your business, your relationship. I am praying that you would set your face like flint, that you will not be moved by what is happening around you, that you will lock in with faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. If you could see it, it wouldn't take faith. I am praying over everything that you have happening and going and moving in your life that God has placed there, that it will do what it was meant to do so that you can be who you were meant to be. I am praying great success over your week and over your life. Thank you so much for joining in today. Thank you so much for watching. Please do me a favor, family. I want us to continue to grow together. I am so grateful for each and every one of you, for your messages, for the things that you share with me. I am so grateful, and I want us to continue to grow together. So please do me a favor and just share this message with someone. There is a link in the bio for those that are sowing and that continue to sow every single week. I am praying every single morning specifically over you and over your families and over everything that you touch. And I will continue to do so. Thank you so much for jumping in. Until next time, keep going. Don't stop here. There's something great ahead.